Okay, again, remember your motivation. And to do it well, at first, touch a person that you love, or even your pet or something like that, in your mind. You have a feeling of love. And I would love to offer a more enlightened relationship. And that's why I'm attending the Vajra Yogini teachings, and also for all sentient beings. And again, you are Vajra Yogini. You should feel that you're in a celestial palace and without any implements. In the space before me stands Guru Chakrasamvara and Vajra Yogini in union, surrounded by a host of root and lineage gurus, yidams, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dakas, and Dharma protectors. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until they reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus from this moment until we reach enlightenment. We take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. I bow down and take refuge in the gurus and the three precious souls. Please bless my mind stream. You actually could leave the field of refuge up in front of you because you're receiving teachings. Okay, so following on the commentary, that you repeat the teaching of the previous day one more time, just in brief. So we had the that out of the Dharmakaya, which is grand space of open space of the sky. Then we which is our personal liberation. We then manifest the syllable Vam, and then we turn into Vajra Yogini for the benefit of sentient beings. Okay, and it says sort of in one instant, you try to have all the phenomena. So the example is that just as you might be in a particular room, you look around the room, have the sort of general sense of the room, and then in one instant you try to sort of be in that. Yeah, like that. You try to regenerate that in your imagination. So the fire represents renunciation on the outside. The floor, wall, roof, and ceiling represents bodhicitta. The cemeteries represent wisdom. You have the thing is you have first divine identity, and then you have appearance. So the first important point is, okay, I am Vajra Yogini, and then with the meaning of that, like what's the connotation, or what's the identification, what would that identification include with it? And then slowly let the divine appearance come. The lotus that you're standing on has red in the four cardinal directions, yellow in the right front side, yellow in the black left side, green behind you on the right side, black on the front left side. The sun disk you're on is one span. Each of the petals is one span, so it's basically 6 feet. Then the fire on the outside is called the fire that burns at the end of the kalpa, Okay, it burns all weapons, disease, famine, and then finally the fire, the water, and the air destroy everything. So that's basically, you should feel that that fire outside of your Vajra floor, wall, ceiling, and roof, that fire has great power to destroy anything negative. Then as Vajrayogini, the 50 skulls around her represent the 34 consonants and 16 vowels that would be in the Sanskrit language. So that's 50. So she has 50 pair of skulls. That represents that. Then her crown, the earrings, the necklace, the arms and wrists and ankles, and the apron represent the 5 of the 5 perfections. And then the 6th one, I believe, is just her body, I believe. I can't remember just for sure on that. So forgive me, can't remember everything. Okay, when you do the visualization or when you review it, you start off with the fire, the Vajra wall, the cemeteries, the double stack reality source, inside that Vajrayogini, and then think, and that by doing it in that way, you're becoming more familiar with drawing your wind energy into your central channel. And so that's beneficial. Oh, did we get the translator?
We just sorted it out.
Okay, Alan?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, just checking, sorry. We have this translated in Spanish also. Okay, then you have the Purifying Ascension Beings, which is yoga number 7. Okay, and I identified in the other classes that that's just, you are really just, I am bodhicitta. Again, that's your insurance policy that your Dharma practice goes in the right direction. Okay, and it says that the sending out the light, the tips of all the lights that comes out of your pores has got both Heruka and Vajrayogini that touches all sentient beings. The color is the 5 colors of the 5 Buddha families: white, yellow, red, green, blue. So it's try to remember, sort of remember that it goes from, the east is Vairochana, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi, Ashkobhya. So white, yellow, red, green, blue. Okay, and that's the 5 Buddha families, the 5 Buddha family wisdoms, which purify the 5 primary delusions and create the 5 Buddha wisdoms. And then the final thing is just light, just red light touches all sentient beings and then takes them to, or purifies them, and they all go to the Pure Land. Okay, so just having that sense of like, I am Vajrayogini, I send light in yoga number 7 for the purification of all beings. Then all the light, that one thing that you can do sometimes, because it gets like, oh, sending light front, back, left side, right side. Sometimes that's a little complicated. So you have to think like you're like a light bulb. And so when you turn on a light bulb, spontaneously the darkness on all sides disappears. So like that, when you think of it from the bum syllable in your heart, you turn it on and then spontaneously all darkness disappears. So you can think that the light in that flash has Heruka Vajrayogini at the end of the beams of that, just in all directions spontaneously. And then it has the 5 colors, sort of like rainbow colors going out from you, the 5 Buddha families, and then just red light that touches all sentient beings and purifies them. Okay. And then you just feel all sentient beings. You have a connection with all sentient beings. They are going to become your students, and they all go to the Pure Land. It's part of the meditation of the purifying sentient beings. Then the yoga number 8 is receiving blessings. And I want to make sure that we don't miss anything. So I have papers. I mean, I can sit there and talk about this in a general way, but it's good to have the specifics. So, okay, what you want to, in receiving the blessings, you first generate the body mandala. If you want to, you don't need to, you can just have the double stack reality sources. And then, within that, your Vajrayogini, and in your heart's the double stack reality sources, the moon cushion, bomb, and the mantra. Or you have then the one in your heart turns into the 37 Dakinis or Yoginis. And then in the queen, in the very center, is again a double stack reality source. So it's very fine. We talked about that this morning in the class. So you're asking all the heroes and heroines, and they are all Buddhas, to bless your body mandala. Okay, and remember that the body mandala is the root of all the nerves. Now, in one way, you could say it's the nerves, but it refers to, you could say the genetic or the DNA trains that create eye, ear, nose, tongue. Because if you look at the greater tantra of Heruka, it refers to between your eyes, your ears, your teeth, crown. I mean, there's all these different points in your body where these nerves go out to. And in the Heruka tantra, you have a deity at the end of them. In this case, you pull it all back to the heart chakra, and you have the 32 Dakinis around the edge, and they are the body, speech, mind, and doors of you. In the center are the 4 elements, in the very center is the queen. Okay, that's the body mandala. Okay. Okay, then again, reflecting on that you're inside the double stack reality sources. There's the bliss swirls on the 4 corners. And again, in the classes in the morning and the afternoon, they're recorded in YouTube. They represent the 4 blisses, so the 4 descending or the 4 ascending blisses. And each of those bliss swirls has 4 components, 4 parts to it, which represent that each of the sections from the crown to the throat can have 4 sub-blisses. And from the throat to the heart, 4 sub-blisses. From the heart to the navel, 4 sub-blisses. From the navel to the genitals, 4 sub-blisses. So there's a total of 16 blisses that you can generate. Okay. Okay, the bindu in the center, like, okay, so whether you have the body mandala or whether you just have the standard sort of moon cushion, syllable bum, and then the mantra rosary around it, if that's sort of just a general one, or if it's in the queen of the body mandala, the lower portion of that is red, the upper part of that is white. Okay, and inside of that, you should feel is your most subtle mind and wind. Okay, and that the little dot, okay? Inside the navel, okay. Okay. Actually, it's interesting here. So the meditation you do to generate all of this. Okay, in your navel, you have a short ah. Now that's just a strike. It's a line going down, okay? And you can have a little crescent moon and squiggle on top of it. That's inside of your central channel in your navel. That slowly sends fire up to the bindu in your heart. So whether it's the bindu of just the double stack reality source, or it's the bindu inside the queen of the body mandala, it touches that and it starts to melt that. Then the syllable bum, okay, which is whether it's in just the irregular body or within the queen of the body, it breaks into 4 parts. And that is ya, ra, la, va. And in the center, you have the nada and or the crescent moon, the nada and the little squiggle, okay? So the ya is on the left, ra is behind, la is on the right, and va is in front. Okay, so lots of details. Again, if you're fairly new, just listen. It's just too much, even for me. I mean, I've been doing this for 49 years. I mean, I have the general sense of all of this, but I don't always think about all the little details of the meaning of it. So that's why I'm having to go through with a piece of paper just to make sure it's all presented correctly. So the ya, okay, you have it's in the sadhana, it says ya, ra, la, va. Ya is to the left, ra is behind, la is to the right, va is in front, and they are mixed with the elements. So you have a lama is green on this side, kadro is back, is red, rupini is yellow, dakini is white in front, okay? So that becomes those 4 syllables. They are the essence of the nerves of the 4 elements, and they become those 4 dakinis, green, red, yellow, white. And in the center is the queen. That came from the crescent moon, dot, and squiggle. Now, these are infinitely teeny, okay? You have to think about it. For example, if this was the double stack reality source, this is in my heart, then the central channel goes right through the center of that double stack reality source. And on that moon cushion, which is to be inside of the central channel, so obviously make the central channel maybe the size of a milkshake straw. So they're getting very teeny little Dakinis. But what's interesting is that if you have faith and such, it's not that hard to sort of, at least first you just believe, and then I don't know, these very small things appear. Okay, so you just have in the center, red, Vajrayogini, then white, green, red, yellow around it. Okay, but it starts the way that you read it is left, back, right, front. Okay, and it is Lama, Kandarohi, Rupini, Kadro is those are the four primary Dakinis. And then around the outside edge of that very tiny little moon cushion is going to come the 32 Dakinis. Okay, so you're having a very refined state of consciousness. Okay, in the commentary it talks about how they branch out, and I did post 2 days ago the way that you see the chakras, and it showed how the branches came. So there's 4 branches, they double, it becomes 8 branches, and then etc. So it does turn into it says the 4 become 8, which is 2, and then they send 2 and they send 3, so you get 24. So bottom line is just, you don't have to really think of the nerves, but just the very fine heart chakra, which is basically, on top of the moon cushion inside the double stack reality source of your heart of you, the big Vajrayogini, that then has the 5 Dakinis in the very center, super teeny, like maybe like the size of a point of a pin. But you believe that they really are the full Vajrayogini forms. And then around the edge of that moon cushion, again, like points of a very fine needle, is then all the 32, all beautiful, radiant and such. It's a very powerful image for you. Anyway, in total, there's 32 on the outside. Okay. And then, it goes through some of the details of that. It's sort of like the thing, but anyway, so I think it's at this point, if you wanted to read commentaries and really look at the sort of the way they divided it up, that would be your own choice. I think at this point, it's too much to talk about for most of you who are beginners. But the thing is, bottom line, just you feel they are connected with body, speech, mind, and your doors. Those are the 32 Dakinis going around the outside edge of that little teeny little moon. And if you think of strands of DNA, that's what these, so to speak, represent. Very teeny, isn't it? You need a microscope to see it, like a super microscope. So that's sort of what's in your heart. Okay, and they represent the all of that. The body, speech, and mind represent the 24 sacred places of India. Or you can reflect on it as just wherever country you're living in, all the sacred places of that country, which may have been identified by the indigenous people. Those have all of the entities, the gods and goddesses of that, they are connected to you. They have a relationship with you. You don't have to think of particularly India, that's a long ways away. Now, those entities don't have any limitation to be suddenly in North America or in Europe, such. There's that magic quality to it, so you could have that sense about it. Okay, now so again, this is just lots of detail. Okay, so again, don't freak out and think, oh my God, it's too much. Okay, so the 24 Dakinis are all Vajrayogini. 1 face, 2 hands in the aspect with Katbanga, everything. They have the full aspect of being Vajrayogini. The last 8, which makes a total of 32, the 4 door Dakinis, which is the thing, has a face of a crow, an owl, a dog, and a pig. Okay, now again, you can see this is like, it's inconceivable. Okay, and the 4 corner Dakinis are just a standard aspect. Okay, so those are just little details. Okay, all 24 of the body, speech, and mind Dakinis have the essence of both Heruka and Vajrayogini. So you should always think there's the match, the match of male and female energy in all of those 24. And I guess you would assume that also for the door ones. Okay. Anyway, so this is the bottom line is, okay, I am Vajra Yogini. If you're doing the body mandala, I have the double stack reality source in my heart. And that is around the central channel, which runs down in front of my spine. Of course, I don't have a spine when I visualize as Vajra Yogini. I have a hollow body. So the double stack reality source in my chest, inside of the central channel, which of course would be like the size of maybe a milkshake straw. I have a moon cushion. And then on that, I have the queen in the center. And then I have the 4 Dakinis to the 4 major directions. And they are white to the left. I'm sorry, green to the left, red behind, yellow to the right, and white in front. And they are facing out. Vajra Yogini is facing towards the east, and each one of those face towards the out. Then the 20 or the 32 Dakinis, they're all facing in. So the first 24, going from in front around to somewhere behind your right shoulder, would be all just Vajra Yoginis. And then the last 8, which makes the 32, the first 4 have faces of birds, and the last 4 just have whatever ordinary faces. Again, it's too much detail, but the thing is that, and they are the essence, the root of all the nerves that go out through all your body. That's good enough for now. I mean, okay. Then you invoke the wisdom beings. You invoke the 3 messengers, outer or mantra born, inner or the 24 secret places, and the innate are the final is the secret there, and the innate is sort of spontaneously born. Okay, plus you invite all the gurus and the Buddhas. So when you say from the hung of my heart, light rays spread, and invite all of the Heruka, chakras, and Vajra, and everybody, that's what you visualize. Okay, the inner messengers are the 8 course doors. Okay, so when it talks about that, you've invited the externals, okay, the Buddhas and such. The subtler ones, okay, the 8 doors are considered course messengers. The 24, which represent body, speech, and mind, are medium Vajra Yoginis. And then the 4 in the very center and the queen are considered the highest or the most subtle of the messengers. Okay, so you have coarse, medium, and subtle messengers. That's the way you should understand them. The outer dissolve into the inner. This reveals the 3 secret messengers. Okay, the ones outside of you absorb to the ones inside of you, and you have then the 3 secret messengers. That is the coarse, subtle, and very subtle. Or you could have place-born, mantra-born, and spontaneously born. Okay. Again, if you're thinking or saying, whoa, Jompa, this is all too much, just listen. Okay, it's a transmission. Okay, I don't actually, in doing the transmission, I did want to have the Motra Dhamma Vajra commentary, but I don't have it in Tibetan. So what I'm doing is basically giving you the verbal side. The other side of this also in the commentary is I'm an experiential teacher. If you wanted a scholastic teacher, then you can get more details about, lots of details. I mean, someone yesterday asked about Rangtan and Shentan. Well, get a geshe or a well-educated scholar, and they can talk about that. I think the bottom line for us as practitioners is we look for experience and such. I mean, if you look at the 4 schools of philosophy, and I'm sorry, I'm talking fast for my poor translator. Okay, anyway, the 4 schools. So remember the first school, Vaibhasika, the universe is just a huge dance of atoms, and my mind is little mind moments, and that's the ultimate nature. The second, Swatantrikas, the universe is a vast dance of atoms and labels, and my mind is shorter mind moments. Then the Chittamantrans, the universe is just a reflection of my mind. Whatever I'm seeing is other powered. And the ultimate is that my mind in a non-dualistic experience is the ultimate truth. Then the Madhyamika, don't be philosophical about it, just totally externally and internally, it's just interdependence, which is similar to being other powered, but it's just saying wide open interdependence of all these external and internal phenomena. That is phenomena in my mind, my sense of self, okay, merely labeled. And that understanding is the ultimate truth. If you have a relative perspective on that, phenomena are arising, but you appreciate they're merely like an image in a mirror, appear vividly, but you don't exaggerate into being that there's something really in the mirror. It arose from causes and circumstances, and it's merely labeled. That's relative phenomena. If you look at the ultimate nature, ultimate perspective, then all the phenomena, because they're all of the same taste, totally interdependent, not self-existent. It's like everything became white, it all just disappears. And you have open space of the sky, and appreciate that as in a very refined state of consciousness, which is clear light. Okay, so anyway, that's just when you talk about the Dakinis and such, that's the coarse, subtle, and coarse, medium, and subtle, or coarse, subtle, and very subtle. Okay, or mantra-born, place-born, mantra-born, and is spontaneous. Okay, now the syllable pum, generally speaking, you come up from your hip and you do 3 to the right, or 3 clockwise, 3 counterclockwise, and then you do, so you come up 3 counterclockwise left, 3 clockwise, 3 counterclockwise, pim. So the actual image is actually the genitals of Vajrayogini. Sounds a bit quaint, but that's what it is, and that's the call sign. All the divine Dakinis respond to that image, saying, yes, that's us, our lotus. Okay, so comes up, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, pim, and then you put it back in your holster on the right side. Pull it out of the holster on the left, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, pim, and it can put back to on the holster on your right, so to speak. That's where you pull your mudra out of. Okay, light comes out from the heart. It comes out through your third eye and goes to the 10 directions. And again, think of you have a light bulb at your forehead, and just sort of all directions suddenly are illuminated. It's a nice way to do it. So you don't sort of think, oh, light went here, light went there. Just it goes everywhere. And what does it do? It touches the mind of all your gurus and the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the Dakinis that might be existing in your city. All of them, they go, oh, they wake up. Oh, so-and-so's meditating. Okay, because what you're invoking is in you, which is your commitment being, you're invoking the wisdom of all of these beings, and it sort of fills you up. Japa, Ja Hum Bam Ho. Now, when you do Ja Hum Bam Ho, you might have been thinking it's just the mind of all these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are serving in your mind, but you also have to include all of the mandala, the fire, the Vajra wall and everything, the double stack reality source, and then of course all the energy is a form of Vajrayogini, and all absorbed. So everything gets refreshed. Geshe Darge said very clearly that when you do things like that, it sort of wakes up your visualization, becomes more vivid. And that's where, if you have faith in your practice, it has that possibility of doing that. Okay, then, so you can see a lot of this is just detail, okay, but hang in there. Om Vam. Okay, now then the syllables that represent the syllables, you go Om Bam Hrim Mam Hrim Hrim Hum Hum Pe Pe, like that. Those mantras. The first syllable represents Heruka, the second syllable represents Vajrayogini. Okay, but it's each one of them. So anyway, so each of the syllables of the armor under your skin on top of the flesh has 2 syllables, Om Bum. Okay, you recognize that as being the masculine and the feminine, Heruka, Vajrayogini. What it means is there's always unification, always method and wisdom, bliss and voidness. Those are all synonyms. Method, wisdom, bliss and voidness, male and female, unification. Okay, so all of those. Then it says the Pepe, when I was first taught, it's just shoulders and hips, but it says you can actually do it more than that. You can shoulders and hips, wrists, and on the ankle, but it's on top of the ankle. So on the front part of the ankle. So that's the secondary commentary to that. Shoulders, on the side of the shoulders and on the tops of the wrists, on the sides of the hips, left and right, and on top of the ankle. So not sort of on the sides, but on the top of the ankle. Okay, and those are that's the pei, which is the third of the final of the armor. Okay, all these. Okay, they represent the 5 Buddha families, and number 6 is Vajradhara. Okay, so that if you Om Bam Hrim 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 5 Buddha families and Vajradhara is Pei. Okay, just in case. You invoke the 64 Heruka mandala with red light. Okay, all of that comes in front of you. So you're Vajrayogini, you're inside of your beautiful palace, you know, your big spacious thing. You have the cemeteries, you have you in your like inside of your little palace, your skyscraper in your mandala. And then inside of that comes the whole 64 deities of Heruka. Okay, if you're not familiar with it, don't worry, just sort of say, okay, the full mandala of Heruka manifested in front of me, and it's going to give you initiation. Okay, now you get crowned with Vairochana and consort. That's called Heruka, Vairochana, and consort. But you are actually in the family of Excobia. You know, for example, Yamantaka is in the family of Excobia. Well, Vajrayogini is also in the family of Excobia. That's the larger family. But you have particularly the aspect of being crowned by this. Vairochana is white, and the crown, because in the crown is the white bodhicitta. Okay, and okay, so you have an 8-spoked chakra on the crown. The front 5 spokes, the 2 over your ears, the 2 over the temples, and 1 over the front has the 5 skulls. Those are the 5 front spokes. The back 3 spokes don't have skulls on them. Those goes up with sort of 8 lines, which is the thing, to the central hub. In the central hub is a jewel. Okay, in that jewel is white Vairochana, which represents the bodhicitta in your crown. He is seated on a lotus and moon cushion, and the jewel has 9 facets to it. I mean, you can see there's lots of details. Don't be freaking out. It's better you just focus on the feelings and the identification, the meaning of bodhicitta, the best you understand the thing. But if you were really to do a lot of retreat and a lot of meditation, then some of these details will be important to you. Okay, so 9-sided jewel. Inside of that is the lotus and a moon cushion, and on top of that is white Vairochana and consort, which is Heruka Vairochana and consort, and that represents the white bodhicitta. Okay, being Vajrayogini is your rough generation stage. The body mandala is a subtle generation stage. So I'll give you an example. Like in the Yamantaka Tantra, you being Yamantaka is coarse generation stage. Then you do something called subtle, which is either at the tip of the penis or at the third eye. You then duplicate. Comes from you comes 1, then comes 2, comes 4, comes 8, comes 16, comes 32, comes 64. And you do this expansion and you pull it all back. And then you do this expansion and you pull it all back. That's the one aspect of the subtle generation stage of Yamantaka. When you do the subtle practice of Vajrayogini, because when you think about it, you have to do the whole mandala of Yamantaka. At the tip of the penis of Yamantaka comes 2, 4, 8, 16. You have a very, very fine visualization, don't you? In Vajrayogini, you do all that in your heart. So that's why I said, like, you have this inside the central channel, which runs from the crown of your head down to, well, just below your navel or to your pelvic floor as you wish. In that then size of a milkshake straw, you have the moon cushion, and then you have the 5 Dakinis in the center, and then the 32 around the outside edge of that. Those are really fine. That's your subtle generation stage for Vajrayogini. Okay. Let me see. Okay. You make offerings. You make offerings to the Heruka and to the Vajra Yogini in the front of you. Let me just see. Buddhist state. It goes into again detail, just saying that the Buddhas have 4 special aspects. That they live in the Pure Land. So the Pure Land where the Buddhas reside. So Sambhogakaya, place, only a place of bodhisattvas. The place is the highest Pure Land, Aknishta. Group is only bodhisattvas, high bodhisattvas. Body is in the aspect of union with consort, and it's this pleasure. The pleasure is the voidness. The pleasure of all phenomena is the voidness. Those are the 4 qualities of the state of union of a Buddha. All offerings that you make to Heruka, Vajrayogini, or whatever have 3 qualities. They are bliss, they're in the aspect of the offering, and they give you bliss and void. That's pretty straightforward. I mean, when you say the prayer, you mean all the objects appear in their aspect, they are the nature of the voidness, and they are bliss. So water for the mouth, water for the feet, perfume, flower, or flowers, incense, light, perfume, food, and music has those 3 qualities. When you make the inner offering, because remember, you got fully consecrated, you're making offerings to yourself as Vajrayogini, so it's the bliss aspect of the bliss, voidness, and aspect of the offering. When you do the inner offering, you feel that all the 37 Dakinis, the very teeny ones in your heart, all get blissed out. That's the inner when you do the inner offering to when you become the deity. The secret offering. It's interesting here. I'm just looking at my notes. It says women just do it, and or in a group with women present, just do it. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to remember all the details. We're at the last day. We're just doing details. So when you do the secret offering, that's when you go in union with well, in this case, your Kadvanga comes down and you go into union. If there's only women present, all of them see themselves as women. If there's a group of women and men, if it's a secret offering, union with Heruka, Vajra, or Heruka, Chakrasambhara. If it's women or even women and men, everybody becomes Vajrayogini and Heruka does it to you. If you're man, single, or just a group of men, you can turn into Heruka. It's according to the commentary of Mochudama Vajra. So secret, you did external 8 offerings. Then you do the bliss, all the 37 Dakinis in your heart go, yes, wonderful bliss. Then you become Heruka, then the Kadvanga comes down. If it's women only, or women and men together, you all have to be on the side of being Vajrayogini, and Heruka does it to you, or gives you great bliss. If it's a man or a group of men, you can become Heruka and you're with Vajrayogini. Commentary. You have 3 points when you go into union. You have, I am the deity, mantra is my speech, my mind is bliss void. So when you're doing the secret offering, I am Heruka, or I'm Vajrayogini. My speech is mantra, means it has the significance of the Dharma, and my mind is the bliss void. The 4 bliss swirls represent the 4 descending blisses. So here you are, you're inside your mandala. So whether you're Vajrayogini and Heruka is making love with you, or you're Heruka making love with Vajrayogini, having great bliss. The 4 bliss swirls represent throat, crown to throat, throat to heart, heart to navel, navel to genitals. Now, I explained to you, each of those bliss swirls has 4 parts. All 4 of them make 16 parts, which means from crown to throat, you have 4 bliss levels. From throat to heart, 4 bliss levels. heart to navel, 4 bliss levels, navel to genitals, 4 bliss levels. And it is like, it's the same ones. I'm blissful. Whoa, I'm really blissful. Wow, I'm blissful. Whoa, it's incredible blissful. And then again, I'm blissful. Oh, that's really good blissful. Oh, that's getting better blissful. Well, that's incredible blissful. Okay. And it's just waking up your nervous system. Okay. So those are the 4 blissfuls and the 4 descending blisses, which you do when you're in union. Then you have the 8-line praise. And I'm going through this a little bit fast because we've got a lot to cover. We only have 1 day more. Okay, but a lot of it is just details. And again, you study this. Again, I'm giving you the commentary. I'm giving you the verbal commentary. You need to continue to study. You need to get the books that are related. David Gonzalez has one of the best books. Geshe Thupten Lodin has a very good book. And Khensa Rinpoche, I need to get his name, the final name. He has a very good book. So there's those 3 books, which are really excellent, pure transmission of the lineage, okay? So line 1, you know, where you go, I don't have it in front of me right now, the praise. Just let me see. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's the 8-line praise, which should be Om Namo Bhagavati Vajravari Bam Hum Hum Pe. Okay, the 8 lines. Destroy, the first one, destroy ordinary appearance and belief in it. Destroy ignorance, which is the pig. Okay, so destroy ordinary appearance. Now that's where you identify with your mundane self. What you want to do is, I'm coming from Dharmakaya. I got my new birth certificate and my new passport. And from there, I'm going to manifest Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. You're no longer having ordinary identification and the belief in that identification, which is your misunderstanding. Line 2, conquer the 3 realms. So desire, form, and formless. You are the queen of knowledge. You destroy the 3 realms. 3rd line, destroy demons, outer and inner delusions with the Vajra. That's the meaning of it. I destroy all demons, outer demons, and inner delusions with the Vajra. Okay, line 4. The Vajra is the penis of Heruka. The lotus is the lotus. The lotus is the Vajragini, and that stability of those 2 overpowers all. So the Vajra is the penis of Heruka. The lotus is the lotus of Vajrayogini. Those together is power over all. Line 5. Brahma is bodhicitta in the crown. Tumo burns that. So I mean, you might in the English translation it says, you know, oh, you who desecrate Brahma. Well, Brahma represents the bodhicitta element that's in your crown. And when you do the Tumo meditations in your abdomen, when you do the 6 sessions of yoga, okay, you feel that a little thread of flame comes up your central channel, up and up and up. It goes and tickles your heart for a little while, cleans it, comes up to your throat. That thread of a flame tickles your throat chakra, cleans it, comes up to the crown, tickles the 32 petals in the crown chakra, and then the bodhicitta starts to melt and rain down through all of your body with great bliss. That's what this line 5 refers to. Brahma is bodhicitta in the crown. Vajragini is the tumo that burns that, or well, activates it. Line 6. Destroy Shiva and company, inner delusions and the secret interferences. Okay, line 6 is destroy Shiva and company. That's the inner delusions. And the secret interferences, generally speaking, refers to a dualistic mind. You know, for example, in the Yamantaka Tantra, you have outer, inner, and secret yamas. The outer yama is outside situations. You know, the outer destruction of the outer yama is destroying outside situations. The inner yama is destroying the delusions. The secret yama is a dualistic mind. So in this case, that line number 6, the secret interferences is your mind is still dualistic. Line 7 destroys the problems of mind like dullness, etc. Okay, that's where Mohani, I can't remember it off. Okay, okay, sorry. Om Vajani Shambani Sambani Mohani Hum Hum Pe. Okay, and remember when you Hum Hum Pe, you ring your bell, ding, 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 3 times. Line 8, she is supreme and offers all realizations. So that's Vajrayogini, you are the supreme Mahayogini, you offer all realizations. And when you do this, okay, it's interesting because you're Vajrayogini. You've just done outer offerings to yourself. You've just done the inner offering, Oma Home. You've just done the secret offering, being in union with bliss with Heruka. And then the secret offering is, of course, the nature of reality. Then you do these praises. You're actually supposed to feel that all these little Dakinis come out and they make prostrations and touch your feet. It's very interesting, nice visualizations. Okay, the benefits. Okay, it's said that if you memorize the 8-line praise, every time you see your guru, you should do it. And there's great blessings for you. You should see yourself as Vajrayogini and do the 8-line praise. And all reality is in her nature. All reality is in the nature of Vajrayogini. The 8-line praise feels as that. You should feel great joy that Heruka Vajrayogini and is blessing your body and your nervous system. That also is when you say the 8-line praise. Vajrayogini is totally blessing and consecrating your whole of your nervous system. And by doing this practice, because it's a Dakini Tantra or Yogini Tantra, all the Dakinis of the universe will always assist you. I remember once I was in Mexico, and I went to it was a sacred cathedral, no, it was a sacred monastery up in the mountains of Mexico and such like that. And it was a very popular pilgrimage place for Mexicans to go. I mean, it's Catholic, yeah. It was one of the first, I think, nunneries was built. And a group of us went there and we just checked it out and did some prayers and things, and then we went away. And all of us had some very interesting dreams and experiences that night. It was it's like, wow, that place must be holy, So even Christian places, that if they have a long history of practice, you could say the angels, male and female angels, for us Dakinis, are there and they bless you. So don't be, sectarian in the sense of thinking, the indigenous people's holy places, that's not for me as a Buddhist. No, you're looking about the transcendental and the mundane Dakinis. Please bless me. If you do the, Dakini Tantra of Vajrayogini, you're setting up a connection with them all. That's why when you do Pem, that's the sound that invites them all. I mean, even Yamantaka does the great syllable Pem. Roaring the great syllable Pemkara is in that sadhana. It means he also calls on the Dakinis. And Vajrayogini especially calls on all the Dakinis, okay? Yeah, so as I say, right now we're just doing a lot of the details. Have a sadhana. I'm giving you the verbal commentary. So don't think that you need to take lots of notes. Get hold of one of the commentary books, and there'll be a lot of the information there. Do remember that depends, for example, Geshe Thupten Loden's book tends to have all the different lineages, variations in it. I can't say that Pabanka's book would have that. So do be aware that you could get, for example, a slight variation in this commentary from one of the books and think, oh, which one's right? Just depends on the lineage. I'm primarily teaching you from the Motu Dharma Vajra lineage, and I make commentary to the Pabanka's, what Pabanka might have had to say about it, okay? Okay, so that concludes the blessing of all of the heroes and heroines and your nervous system, and you as Vajrayogini. You then do the outer inner secret suchnesses offerings. You do the 8 praises. And at that point, if, in both the long or even you're doing a short sadhana, you should do shamatha, or, shamatha, shine is the Tibetan word for it. It means calm abiding. So you sit there and you just hold. Why? Because you're all blessed, you're consecrated, you've had all the things. So at this point, just say really like, Vajrayogini is there for me. And you have to think about it in terms of that having that identification, even though we might not be that realized, we are open to have a relationship with her. And as much as you could say, take refuge in our practice of Buddha Dharma Sangha, we are receptive to all the blessings and the support of all the Dakinis, the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the protectors, everything, and it's having a good heart. To the best of my ability, may I not cause harm. To the best of my ability, may I be of benefit. That's the fundamental commitment of taking refuge. And then Buddha, Dharma, Sangha are the objects of that refuge. You have causal refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha practice. You have result refuge, you become enlightened. So at this point, just having that calm abiding that I am Vajra Yogini, and to the best of my ability, I'm doing all of those visualizations, like trying to have that whole imagination of I am in this mandala with the 8 cemeteries, etc. Okay, is making you receptive to Vajra Yogini and all of her blessings. Remember though, the most important component of all of that is your good heart, which has wisdom, understanding to some extent the nature of reality, and bodhicitta, may I be of benefit to all sentient beings. That will really draw the Dakinis into your life. Okay, so it's 10 to 7. We've been doing this for 50 minutes. We're going to call a small break for 10 minutes, just so you have a chance to sort of relax, go to the bathroom, have a glass of water. So we're just pausing the video and we will start up again in 10 minutes. Please relax and think about things if you'd like to. Okay, so we're back. Now, please remember that a lot of the material that will be meaning for you as a practitioner were in the first classes. This is just detail. Okay, so don't be overwhelmed by it. Focus on the important components. If we look at the teachings that I had from the great teachers, you establish a general practice, and then slowly you perfect it, you refine it and such. So this is the fine details, but don't say, oh my God, if there's too much, I can't practice. No, practice generally. Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, death, bardo, rebirth. I am bodhicitta. Get some sense about the being open like the space of the sky, things like that. Okay, so we arrive at the yoga number 9, but remember, at the end of yoga number 8, you do just quietude, you just sit in it. And the first thing is say identification with some meaning or context behind it. Then clear appearance. From the commentary, it says start from the outside and come in a general way that you have a sense about where you are. I think psychologically, you want to say like, in a sense, I'm the center of the universe. So like, if you look, that's where the Chittamantram philosophy or Yogacharya, everything's a reflection of your mind, really gives you could say the control. You are the creator of the universe. And that's a very powerful thing to say. And then whatever you're seeing, you don't, overemphasize the outside phenomena. Say, oh, if I'm seeing an angry person, that's a reflection of my mind. I understand that. And so therefore you don't get reactive. It's other powered. Anyway, so just slowly. Okay. So now we've read yoga number 9. Do shamatha. So you've done the shamatha. Now, if you bless your mala, okay, if you have a mala and you want to bless it in the Yamantaka practice, it actually has a little practice that you can do, where you have all of the beads of your mala disappear. They become a lotus and the moon or sun cushion. They have a little one-faced, two-armed Yamantaka with Oma Home, sends light rays, etc. Okay, you can look at the long sadhana. It has it very clearly there. In the Vajra Yogini, you can just go Om Krisha or say Om Gandaroy Hom Pe Om Sabra Shuddha Sarvadam, and they all become what. And then you just do Om Sabra, but you do the mantra 5, 10, 20 times, blow on it, and then you feel that your mala is blessed. Okay. Okay, you have different ways of reciting. You have what's called just pledge. You have, okay, the way that you're doing in this case is called whispered recitation. So you don't actually do it completely silently. The only time you do it silently is when you do the drop the reality source down to your navel in the second part of this yoga number 9. In this case, it's at your heart, and you just slightly whisper it. Okay, and when you do that, it said like you should be just just so you know you're saying it, but somebody beside you couldn't understand what you're doing. That's the way that it's done. And in the whispered recitation also, you should do it sort of well enough that you can get the syllables. So I explained earlier that on average, if you were to do a mala of Vajrayogini, it should take you about 12 minutes. So you can sort of check up saying, well, how long did that take me? Some of you will be a little faster because you have a sharper mind. Some will be a little slower. But that sort of gives you a ballpark to say, am I actually getting all the 32 syllables? Okay. Om, 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 sabra, buddha, dakini, Vajra. Okay. And then it's a whispered thing. So it's just very quiet. And why do you sort of whisper it? Because you're getting some verbal karma. You know, you have mental karma, you've got the intention, you've got the imagination. You do a little bit of the voice to get some verbal karma in there, okay? And it makes your speech more powerful. So it's a whispered recitation, okay? Okay, 3 Dharma sources. Okay, so then now when you're doing it, when you're doing the mantra, so you can just focus on mantra. Now think of it this way, that you have the imagination, you have the identification, okay, and with that then you mix it with the mantra, which then sort of like every time you say the mantra will come a little bit of that identification and the imagery. So you're mixing them. You know, when you're out and about in the world, you do the mantra to sort of have this, that I am, you know, benefiting sentient beings, you know, we're in the Pure Land. Remember that the analogy I think that works well for us is the world, the universe is the playground of enlightenment. We are all, I and all sentient beings are on the same team. We're all Vajrayogini. And the game we're playing is the game of enlightenment. Who are our opponents? Delusion. So if you're a basketball team or a baseball team or a football team, soccer team, whatever you want it to be, you are in the playground or the play field of enlightenment. That's the Pure Land. All sentient beings, we're all in the same team. Some players are pretty good, some players aren't, but we're all in the same team. We have a camaraderie. And then the game we play is the game of enlightenment, becoming enlightened, okay? So when you purify sentient beings, that's how you should think of it, like we're all together. Om, 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 sarva buddha dakini, Vajra. Remember, it's left hand. You start the mala over your ring finger of your left hand, pulling it towards your heart. After a few minutes, if your hand gets tired, you can move it up to your, you know, to your first finger, second finger, however you want to do. Again, pulling the beads towards your heart. And if you want, then even then you can drop your hand down to your knee and such. Okay, those are the things. When you offer to the Buddhas, you offer joy, okay? Like, I'm so happy, I'm joyful, I'm Vajrayogini. So you send out joy to all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and then they send back a wave of blessing of joy. Okay, the mantra has 3 parts. Sarva Buddha Dakini, so it's Om, Om, Om. So actually what it is it's 3 mantras put together. That's why it's Om, 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 Hum, 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 Pe, Pe, Pe. So it'd be Om Sarva Buddha Dakini Hum Pe. Okay, and then Om Vajra Varajaniye Hum Pe. Om Vajra Varane Hum Pe. Om Vajra Varochaniye Hum Pe. Okay, those are the three mantras they put together. So it's Om, Om, Om. Okay, Sarva Buddha Dakini refers to the mind, the Buddha's mind of bliss and void. Om Sarva Buddha Dakini, the Buddha's mind of bliss and void. And that means that all space is pervaded by bliss and void. It penetrates everything. It is the Dharmakaya. So you call it omniscient consciousness, but it's omniscient consciousness bliss void. That's the Sarva Buddha Dakiniye. Okay. Then you have Vajravaraniye. That is the teaching, the speech and Sambhogakaya of the Buddhas. So it's the teaching as they get bliss and void, speech, Sambhogakaya. Vajra Varochaniye is the Nirmanakaya body. It's the teacher. It's the body that manifests in the world. So the 3 mantras are mind, speech, and body of the Buddha, or of Vajrayogini of the Buddha, of enlightenment. Okay, Sarva Buddha Dakiniye, mind, Vajraraniye, speech, Vajravarochaniye, body manifestation. Hum, 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 pe, pe, pe. So the om represents the body, speech, and mind of the Dharmakaya. Hum, 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 the body, speech, and mind of Sambhogakaya. Pe, 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 the body, speech, and mind of the Nirmanakaya. So, I mean, strictly speaking, Dharmakaya doesn't have body, speech, and mind. But the way you do it, om is for the Dharmakaya, body, speech, and mind. Hum, 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 body, speech, and mind, Sambhogakaya. Pe, 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 body, speech, and mind, Nirmanakaya. All Dakinis recite, all the Dakinis in your heart, all 37, sing the mantra together. That's very powerful. I mean, when you think about it, you have all these little voices in your heart just singing away, you know, karaoke or whatever, you know, like great bliss inside your central channel. It's powerful. Okay, they all sing and they send out, all of them have individual light. Okay, and of course, the queen, if you're doing the body mandala, has the double stack reality sources and the 32 syllables in her heart. Each of the syllables has its own light and its own sound. You know, Om is got red light, of course, is red mantra, red mala, a red mala mantra. Okay, red light and Om, 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 Sar, Buddha, like that. Okay, so you send out all sentient beings become purified. We're all in the dark. We're all in the playground. We're all playing the same game of enlightenment. We're all on the same team. For the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all of the thing, you offer joy. And then you feel all the Dakinis in your heart, sing it. And of course, the mantra in the Queen, if you're doing body mandala, that also vibrates that. It's very powerful, okay? Then the second part, all that energy and bliss returns to you. As you're concluding, then you just can, at a certain point, just this waves of bliss and light and such come back into you. Okay. Now, when you're going to do, okay, well, you should feel that all of this goes inside your central channel, and it helps bring your mind in the central channel. You should feel that your central channel has 4 qualities. It is straight. So it says to be like an arrow that goes from the crown of your head to your pelvic floor. It's straight. It's hollow. Okay. It is soft. It's not hard and brittle. It's got a softness to it. It's a deep red color, and it's clear and bright. So straight, soft, deep red, clear and bright. So that's your central channel. And of course, remember, inside of that is the 37. And inside of the Queen is the double dot reality source, if you're doing the body mandala. If you're not doing body mandala, then inside of the central channel is the moon cushion with the 32 syllables and bum. Okay. The indestructible dot is white on the top and red on the bottom. That's the little dot and squiggle, okay? You should know that they represent to the bliss and void, okay? Okay, you read, okay. So it says in the commentary, when you're doing the verbal recitation, you purify all sentient beings, you offer joy to all the Buddhas, then wave of energies come back to you. You should feel that everything sucks into the central channel, all the phenomena. This is at the end of the verbal recitation, everything sucks into the central channel and such like that. That all disappears, and you rest in bliss and void for a little while. Then poof, you're back, you're Vajrayogini. You just appear back as Vajrayogini. You can do the 100-syllable mantra to purify for any mistakes you made, and then you relax a little bit. Okay, that's the verbal recitation. Okay. We're going to stop for questions and answers now because, okay, we need to then, we need to go and cover the mental and the mental recitations, the completion stage practice. We'll do that tomorrow. It's our last day, and we'll do the concluding presentation. So that way we get all of the material. Some of you may be saying, well, I want completion stage practices. Well, part of what you're doing tomorrow will be completion stage practices. If you want the completion stage practices, that's the 6 yogas of Naropa. Glenn Mullen teaches it very well. He's a different, he's a very close friend of mine. He has workshops and youth or Zoom conferences. He would be a good one. He's translated Tsongkhapa's Succession Guru Yoga, or the 6 yogas in Naropa and things. He's a good presentation for that. I can also teach it. It's just at this point. Anyway, we're doing the Vajrayogini Sadhana. Okay, so if you do all of the things that we've talked about and you study it, you'll be getting very, very close to completion stage practices. So don't think that it's not there. It's just get your act together. Okay, what I mean is get yourself organized. Make yourself like that Christmas tree. All the baubles are just beautifully positioned. When you do completion stage, is you plug it into the electricity. You don't want any short circuits. And short circuits would be you didn't work on your attitude enough. Okay, now having said that, we're okay. So let's just do a quick review. You generate the body mandala, like I said, inside the central channel. You invite Heruka and all the things. You receive consecration. Your whole body becomes filled with bliss, and such. Everything gets sort of like clarified and such like that. Then you make water outside offerings to yourself as Vajrayogini. Then you make the inner offering, bliss, and that goes to the 37 Dakinis in your heart mandala. Then you offer the suchness, so that's where you become, the wisdom. That's where you become Vajrayogini, and you go in union with Heruka, or you become Heruka and become a Vajrayogini. And it was interesting, if there's women in your group and you're practicing together, you're men and women together, then you all do Vajrayogini. If you are just men, you can become Heruka. But if there's a woman present, you have to be the side of Vajrayogini. Okay, work on that. Okay. Then, so then you do that, and then you, of course, the nature of reality. Then you should do shamatha for a little while, being Vajrayogini. Oh, I'm sorry, you do the 8 verses of praise, and then you do the shamatha Vajrayogini. If you're doing a short sadhana, I would recommend you do to behold the smiling face of the Dakini prayer after the 8 verses of Vajrayogini, 8 praises to Vajrayogini, because it just adds to your ability. Doing it then is good for your shamatha, or calm abiding meditation of being Vajrayogini. Okay, if you're doing a long sadhana, you could do it if you wanted to. If you don't worry, it's going to come up after in the yoga number 11. Okay, so and then, okay, so then you go into the mantra recitation. And again, you should feel that all the little Dakinis in your heart chakra, if you're doing the body mandala, they all sing the mantra. And both light and bliss comes out of you, goes to all sentient beings. You purify sentient beings, or you make joy, offer joy to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. At the end of the recitation of the mantra, when you've decided you've done enough mantras, then you flip over and you absorb it all, you go to the void, and you rest in that with peacefulness and happiness and joy. And then you come back, you're suddenly Vajrayogini again, and then you're going to start doing the completion stage practices of Vajrayogini. But we'll do that tomorrow. Okay, so that concludes the class for tonight, and I'd like to open it to questions. So I have my person who's taking questions.
Yes. So Nina
nice and loud.
What?
Loud, I can't hear you.
So Nina asks, when do we do the depth absorption? Are we the syllable bam, or are we looking at the bam?
Okay, when you do the death absorption, you go to clear light. After the death absorption, you go to bardo, and that would be the bum syllable. So you've got to remember, death is clear light, no form. Bardo, when you get into the bardo, that's your bum syllable. Rebirth is you come Vajrayogini. Okay.
Leitita asks, where do all the descriptions and details come from? Are they direct visions, perceptions of the lineage lamas over time?
Primarily, it comes from Naropa. Okay, where do all these teachings come from? Primarily, they came from Naropa. Then, in the ongoing practices, for example, when it moved to the Sakyapa lamas, then they enhanced it a little bit. They had some things they added to it, but basically, the primary source is Naropa. After that, then there's, I wouldn't say embellishment, but there was some clarifications from the great Sakyapa masters. There was the 5 great Sakya teachers. Then it came to Mutradharma Vajra. He had profound experiences of the Vajrayogini practice. And again, this clarified the material of Naropa. And then finally it came down to Pabanka, who is a great yogi, and then Lobsang Yeshe, who was a Trichang Rinpoche. He then transmitted it to me. So it's basically, it is both the source is Naropa, and then the lineages, just again, they had experiences. I mean, some of these people managed to die and take their body to the Pure Land. You know, they dissolved their body into light energy and took it. I mean, so there's a great lineage of experience and attainment. So it is primarily Naropa, and then Lamas may have clarified some components.
Nina asks, how large is the syllable bam when it reappears after the clear light meditation?
Your choice. Most Lamas say that you should feel that it's your choice, but try to remember you are the syllable bum. You're not visualizing it. That takes a little bit of effort. Often, like if you think of this, this finger here, my right hand is a syllable bum. This is me, my imagination or my point of view of imagination. What you try to do is to make them closer and closer and closer and closer. And then you are the syllable bum. You're trying to get closer to having a non-dualistic experience. Okay. So anytime you imagine, you tend to be viewing. That's dualistic. You try to make, again, the simple trick is just make them closer and closer. And then you are the syllable bum floating in space. And you have that sound around you, bum, okay? And you're like neon, so you're radiant. Try.
So Henry asks, could you kindly tell us more about line 6 of the 8 lines, destroying Shiva, you said?
Well, it's actually, you don't destroy Shiva. He was transformed. So the question is about line 8, what's destroying Shiva? Shiva, the other name of that is Bhairava. And it comes actually, this is sort of fun for you to listen to. Hinduism, actually, there's different types of Hinduism, you know, in the sense that there's, you know, there is God, Brahma, Shiva, and things like that. But there's also called the 3 faces of God. And so the 3 faces of God, so God in this case is ultimate. The one face is Brahma. When Brahma exhales, the universe manifests. Vishnu, the second face, preserves that. And then Bhairava or Shiva, he destroys it. He inhales it all. It goes back to the void. Brahma exhales. Vishnu preserves. Shiva destroys. Goes back to the void. So you may be familiar with the 4 great aeons. The aeon of birth, abiding, destruction, and emptiness. But it's not, it then goes back, birth, abiding, destruction, emptiness. And those are for billions of years. I mean, we don't know, but maybe it's like black hole, the black hole is this one. And I don't know, somehow the black hole explodes, or the Big Bang, that's the expansion, that's the outward breath of Brahma. And then it abides, like it's all stable, that's Vishnu. And then gets all sucked back into a black hole, that's Vishnu, that's Shiva. So that's one way to understand the destruction, or that Shiva is a destroyer. But in this case, it refers to Shiva, who is the great and powerful yogi, but it's under the power of delusion. And all of the Shivite practitioners, the sadhus and everything, and then all of the Bhutas and Bretas, all of the ghosts and everything, they're all under the power of Shiva. Shiva is the Lord. He's the great yogi, okay? And it's under the power of delusion. And then there's animal sacrifices and stuff like that within that presentation of it. But Buddha Shakyamuni, seeing that Shiva had great control over samsara, or control over the world, then transformed him. So Shiva and Parvati were off doing something, okay, on the top of Mount Meru or whatever. Then Buddha manifested Heruka, Chakra, Samvara, and Vajrayogini, then Shiva and Parvati freaked out and said, hey, who's on top of our mountain? Who's in our palace? And they came back. But as they got closer, they were completely transformed with bliss and voidness and understanding of reality. They absorbed into Heruka, Chakrasamvara, and Vajra Yogini and such. So you don't really say the destroyer of Shiva, you say the destroyer of delusion, and it's transformed by the bliss and the voidness. Okay. Now, what's interesting, if you look at the image of Shiva from, for in Hinduism, there's all sorts of fun things which are there, which are basically part of Buddhist practice. You could say the archetype of Shiva was taken in with the practice of voidness and bodhicitta. And so the archetype of Shiva became transformed. Originally, you could say the practice of Shiva was for power, power over the three realms. But with the practice of bodhicitta and sunyata, it became the Buddhist practice. And so the archetype is still very, very powerful. But for us, we have the bodhicitta and sunyata, or bliss and voidness, okay? And so, for example, even in Heruka, it shows there's a sprinkle of water coming out of his hair. Well, in the Shiva tantras, or in the Hindu tantras, that's the river Ganga, the deathlessness that can come from the river Ganga. That if you get touched by the water of the river Ganga, you go to heaven and all your negativity is purified. Well, that comes from the hair of Shiva, which it's a whole other story. I don't have time to share it right now, but it's a good story. You should check out. Then the half moon represents, again, bodhicitta and stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of great overlaps. But the bottom line is the archetype of Shiva, great yogic power, was transformed by bliss and voidness, bodhicitta and sunyata.
Can you talk a bit about the hand offerings?
That's too much. I'm sorry. It's Lama Zopa has something on hand offerings. I have some text on that. I can send that to you. So maybe I'll get our tech to post that. It's hand offerings by Lama Zopa. It's quite complicated. I mean, each finger is a deity and stuff. If you think you got enough data with what I just did yesterday and today, the hand offerings, a whole bunch more data, and there's not time to do it. It'd be more related to the Heruka Tantras.
Magdalena asks how the hand mudras actually work.
Okay, these hand mudras, like that's they're saying there's something called hand offering. Maybe I misunderstood the question. Hand offering is in the Heruka Tantras, and I can post something from Lama Zopa. Hand mudras, okay, you point your fingers outwards, you click, and you feel that from your heart comes Daka and Dakini, so male and female offering goddesses. They're coming out of your heart. You do a lotus roll. Now the lotus roll, the simple version of it is right hand is up and left hand is down. You're holding a balloon. You basically roll the balloon so right hand is down. You put your right hand around in front of the balloon and you push the balloon away and you roll over. That's your lotus roll. Now, if you do it nicely, you get the fingers to go like that, and it makes it a little bit more fancy. But the bottom line is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the low thing. It represents opening your heart chakra because it's a lotus roll, opening the lotus of your heart. You send out goddesses or gods and goddesses. They make offerings and then you send them back in. Your hands cross, a right hand out, left hand in, snaps the fingers towards your heart, and you feel all that energy comes back in. This is very good for opening your heart chakra. Sending out goddesses and gods, make an offering, suck them back in your heart. Sending out gods, goddesses, make the offering, send them back in your heart.
Yes, to clarify the last question, it was about the hand offering. So, yes.
Okay.
And another question, when is the best moment to move to the completion stage? When are we ready?
Well, when you're a nice person. No, I'm serious. Okay, there's two things. If you practice very intensely, you could start to have completion state experiences. And if you're not really that ripe, you most likely have what's called Kundalini trauma. which just means that there's too much energy and you're a little bit psychotic, basically. So you should have a really good personality. You don't get ruffled too much. You know, you're pretty much under control of yourself. You feel pretty good, you know, and you're beneficial. And you could say you have personal space. You're not just reactive. So if you do mindfulness meditation, that means you shut down the outside world. You bring the threshold of your awareness more deeper inside. You get a bit of personal space. It means you're not reactive. You're not on the surface. Then with that, you have being a nice person, you're helpful, you know, you're generous, whatever, you're just a really nice person. Then, you know, if you have that type of personality, then completion stage practices are great. Remember, I gave you the analogy of the Dalai Lama has really big speakers. He has completion stage practice. So when he starts teaching, it's like symphony music coming out of the big speakers because he's got a beautiful personality, and the power of completion stage practices goes into that beautiful music. If you're not very developed, Kundalini or Tumo or completion stage practice is power. It's like going from 110 volts to 220 or to 580 or whatever it might be. Like, you're just getting power. And so if your personality is not very polished, it's trouble. Another example could be if you do completion stage practices too early, it's like you have an electrical wire. So you're going from 110 volts to 220, but there's not much insulation around it. So it means you're very nervous. You're too wired, you know. It's because you haven't got enough insulation. Insulation is your Dharma practice, being peaceful, being wise, being thoughtful. Now, for most of us, I would say 99% of us, we can practice the completion stage in Vajra, we can have faith, but always have the context. You know, I'm trying to be a benefit to all sentient beings. Then if you find it's got too much energy, you know, remember like the gas pedal, I talked about it yesterday, back off on the gas pedal, get your attitude organized better, do mindfulness meditation, calm down. You know, and then if you find, okay, I'm calm again, and you put the gas pedal up a bit, see how well you do. Like that.
What is the significance of a protection wheel?
Well, it's basically, it's self-confidence. You know, there are, you know, say negative energies around. I mean, you know, for example, if you've ever been in a riot, you feel the panic and the fear and the craziness of the crowd. That's because, you know, you're receptive to it. So protection wheel would be the ability to stop that affecting you. That's what it refers to. Now, let's just say that, you know, we're Buddhists, we're bodhisattvas, we have good intentions. We should focus on that. I would not recommend being around people that are into manipulation and things like that. That's sort of like, I wouldn't say black magic, but just sort of not good stuff. So your protection wheel, or all the protections that you do, that means that you maintain clarity of your principles, that you're a bodhisattva. And just for example, like if you're in a crowd of people that are rioting, you can feel all the craziness. Well, you're able to protect yourself from going crazy like them. Okay, something simple like that.
Is there something like wisdom showering mantra for Vajra?
Absolutely, yeah. You do that when you do the mantra. When you do a retreat, not when you're doing regular practice, you don't have the wisdom rain mantra. When you do a retreat, you have to do, for example, if it's 100,000 mantras, you have to do 10,000 wisdom rain mantra. If you do 400,000 mantras, you have to do 40,000 wisdom rain mantra. Okay.
Also, when you hear the question, can you repeat?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so what was the wisdom rain mantra? It's what you do at the end of a retreat of either 100,000 or 400,000 or 3,700,000, depends on the retreat you're doing. You do a certain number of wisdom rain mantras in proportion to the retreat you did.
No new questions.
No. Okay, guys. Now, I want to emphasize that at this point, I'm giving the transmission of the sadhana. As I said earlier, most of the really relevant and meaningful things were in the earlier teachings. Right now, we're just doing details. Don't think that you have to master all the details. It would make you crazy. Give yourself 3, 4, 5 years to get proficient in your tantric practice. Then you're going to feel really good and you're not stressed and you're not freaking out and things like that. Okay, so give yourself 4 or 5 years, get a general sense of your practice of Tantra, then move into specifics, do a little bit of completion stage in the Vajra Yogini, fine. Just remember there's a gas pedal. Don't just be intensive and super intense, because the only remedy you have if you're too intense and then too much energy happens is patience. Either that or Prozac, your choice. Okay, so just be aware of your gas pedal, and if you're finding it's got too much, slow down. If you're feeling really good, okay, be the judge of your own practice. All of the teachers that have good experience, Glenn Mullen or Paula, Lama Paula, or whoever, they'll give you this, they'll give you good advice. There's lots of things. Okay, so it's a lifetime practice, and the most wonderful thing is it gets better and it gets more interesting the more you practice. I mean, I've been 50 years of practicing Tantra Buddhism. I mean, well, maybe 40 years, because first 10 years I was studying. But the thing is, it's a wonderful, incredibly interesting practice. The classes of the morning and afternoon today, I tried to give a lot of just common sense information. Watch those. Maybe quite interesting for you. Okay. So I think at that point, we'll call it quits. Let's dedicate. Tomorrow, we'll go into the completion state practices of Vajra Yogini, and we'll do the concluding prayers. Tomorrow is the last day. Wow, we've 6 full days of Vajra Yogini. Wonderful bliss. Okay, so again, although we can do prayers, let's just do it in our hearts, that we say, well, I've done 6 days, however many classes I participated in, whatever. I did 2 days, 3 days of initiations. All of that I dedicate towards becoming a more enlightened individual, more beneficial, like a bodhisattva. What's the meaning of that? It's some benefit for others. May I offer whatever I can offer in the most appropriate manner to benefit of sentient beings. And also may all of our great teachers live very long and healthy lives and be able to teach us all and help us, guide us on the path, whether it's the common path or the profound path. And may there be peace in the world. Okay, so thank you very much. Take good care. Oh, and remember, motivate tonight before you go to sleep, so maybe you can have some good dreams.